Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen defending the administration's plan to allow IRS snooping on Americans' bank accounts in an interview last night. The proposal would require banks to report all customer transactions of more than $600. Yet she insists the plan targets wealthy people. Joining me now, Ohio Congressman and House Financial Services Committee member Warren Davidson. Congressman, I say balderdash.
Yeah, that's a polite version. Thanks for covering this, Dagan. I mean, it is an incredible overreach. And if you think about the invasion of privacy this represents, it's bigger than the Patriot Act. I mean, that still needs to be clawed back. And the problem is, once freedom's surrendered, it's rarely reclaimed. I mean, we need to be in the business of fighting this every way we can. Financial privacy is one of the realms that's been most infringed. Imagine if we tolerated this level of infringement on speech or the right to keep and bear arms.
Brian Brimberg, jump in here.
Yeah, Congressman, I think it's so funny, actually, to watch the Treasury Secretary try to defend this because, she's being asked very simple questions. If you're going after the rich, why in the world are you looking into accounts that everybody would have, the size of which everybody would have? Congressman, my concern here is that they may claim this is about going after the rich, but the fact is if they have information on everybody's bank account like that, then eventually this becomes an excuse not just to audit the rich, but to continually audit anybody who they think might be a little bit out of line in the name of clawing back our resources to fund these boondoggle spending projects.
Yeah, and once the IRS has the data, they haven't been good custodians of the data. If you look in the past, Lois Lerner scandal, for example, they targeted conservatives. If you look just this year, the wealthiest Americans had their tax returns disclosed. I mean, frankly, this is not an effective way to even. If you wanted to tax the wealthiest, you wouldn't even look at the income tax. Jeff Bezos is not going to sell his Amazon shares. You would tax consumption, and obviously the wealthiest consume far more than the average American. And when you think about their number of $600 transactions, I think they're far exceeding the kind of transactions that Americans get when their paycheck gets deposited.
Joe?
Congressman, I want to talk about the president's spending bill, which, in the press, it's called the $3.5 trillion. When you take away the gimmicks, it's more like $5.5 trillion. And the only way I think that progressives now think they can get this through is by cutting the scope of the programs that they have in there, in other words, or the term for that matter. So, for instance, if you want to give away free community college, well, instead of 10 years on that and that price tag, let's bring it down to a 5-year term. And hey, we cut the cost in half. Joe Manchin, Kristen Sinema, come on board. But I think, as we know, once you give somebody something free, whether it be health care, whether it be college, it's very hard to take that program back. So do you think that this sort of gimmicky math will work in terms of bringing over the Manchins and Sinemas of the world?
Well, it certainly isn't going to work on most Republicans, but it has worked on some with respect to gimmicks in the infrastructure bill. But the broader, as you say, $5.5 trillion spending tag, it's really the Bernie agenda. I mean, this is the deal Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders cut back during the Democratic primary. Joe will emerge as the lead, and the agenda will be Bernie's. And Bernie's agenda is in here in terms of all the components of it. And as you say, even the ones that are in there, they're just scaled down. Well, we'll do free child care for this long and, more free stuff for more people. Meanwhile, our economy is awash in cash. Ohio has over $5 billion of federal money. Instead of spending more than ever, we should be looking at, with the surpluses that states and local governments already have, the federal government would have an opportunity to spend less than normal this year. That's not what's on the agenda.
In the Wall Street Journal editorial page today, Congressman points out that federal revenue, money coming into the federal fisc, hit an all-time high in the fiscal year that ended September the 30th. It topped $4 trillion at a record for the very first time. Receipts were up 18%. Or $627 billion. So why raise taxes? Why try to bring more money in the door? But it also points out how hideously ginormous the spending plans are when you think about the annual revenue of the federal government is only $4 trillion. In the meantime, the House did just approve the raising the debt limit into December, progressives say they're willing to cut the cost of the reconciliation bill, but not the scope. This is what Joe Concha was getting at. They're just playing budget gimmicks. They want all their list of priorities, but they just trim them in the short run and introduce these entitlements knowing they'll never go away and knowing the cost will balloon several years out.
Yeah, those are such great observations, Dagan. And one of the big ones, look at the size of the federal revenue, biggest on record. Doesn't this show that the Republican tax reform plan is working? The federal government is collecting more revenue. The economy is doing well in spite of COVID. There are massive disruptions. You guys have been covering it. Those are the kind of things that the administration should be working to remedy. Instead, they're looking at crippling our economy with the biggest tax increases ever. They're looking at all the things that I came to Congress to stop, frankly, more funding for abortion, gun control, surveillance state capitalism, and launching programs that are designed to keep people from participating in the workforce. I mean, we had 4.3 million people quit their jobs in August. We should be finding how to get people back to work, not to shield them as they stop participating in our economy.
Right. Lower taxes, less regulation got you the highest inflation-adjusted incomes since 1967 and a poverty rate that fell to the lowest on record, the lowest since at least 1959. That's what lower taxes and less regulation did. And now we're facing the opposite. Congressman Warren Davidson, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Dagan.